And hello and welcome to this episode of CNBC Africa in Conversation with myself, Tanya Habimana, and I'm about to have a conversation with the President of the Annual Investment Meeting, His Excellency Dawood Shezawi. So thank you so much for having us here in your wonderful headquarters with a beautiful view. The annual investment meetings, I'd love to find out more. Ultimately, an annual gathering collecting over 170 countries, captains of industries, players from the private sector coming together for a common purpose. What was the strategic vision when it started in 2010?
Thank you very much, and it's our pleasure to host you here in our headquarters in Dubai. The annual investment meeting is an initiative of AIM Foundation, where basically it's established during 2010. And the basic vision behind this was that we are just coming out of the recession, the economic recession 2008, and we wanted to support the economies worldwide to attract more FDI and investment. And that time we had initiated a proposal to the government of UAE to host the first edition of annual investment meeting in Dubai, and it was accepted. And since then, the annual investment meeting has been growing from 2,000 participants to more than 16,000 annual participants at this event.
That's fantastic. But now, it's more than a meeting, isn't it? I mean, I've seen the videos, we've gone through the websites, and we're seeing MOUs being signed. We're seeing real transactions take place. What would you say has been the most significant milestones?
Well, it's a platform for investment. It's a platform for investors to meet with governments. And what we do, facilitate these investments. Our role in annual investment meeting is to help governments to promote their investment opportunities. We help investors to connect them with governments worldwide. We have worked in 173 countries, and we try to basically arrange all the facilitation processes for the governments to attract more investment. The milestone, I would say it's basically many milestones. We have a lot of activities going on, not during the 3 days of event, but the whole year. We have a lot of trade missions coming and going to United Arab Emirates, to African countries, to basically Latin America. So we established during the last 13 years a lot of offices around the world, more than 10 offices, where basically we try to focus into empowering these countries with more FDIs coming to their countries, as well as we extended to empower startups and SMEs to basically, grow globally.
So this really spans across the board. We're going from countries to the private sector, startups, SMEs, all coming together for the purpose of attracting investment. When it comes to the African continent, I'd like to find out more. How many countries have been represented so far?
I think over the years, we have more than 45 countries from African regions. We have partnered with many organizations in Africa. We have partnered with the African Development Bank. We have partnered with African Union. All the countries in Africa have been really working hard to be part of annual investment meeting. They have attracted a lot of investment. We have worked in a lot of projects, either they are infrastructure projects, agriculture projects, property projects, mining projects, all over the years with them. So I see that AIM has really benefited African countries in terms of attracting a lot of investment. We are still working with them in terms of attracting more talent to these countries. And Africa has a beautiful nature, has a lot of opportunities, where basically we need to showcase it in a proper way to different countries and investors.
What has been the main interest of African countries participating?
I think the know-how is one. African countries has big potentials in terms of investment opportunities. Africa has a big number of youth, where basically they need empowerment, they need training, they need know-hows, they need collaboration, they need partnerships. So we have developed this partnership ecosystem between the African countries and the other organizations worldwide, especially the big 500 Fortune companies. And in this model, we have been successful into basically linking the big 500 Fortune companies with African countries, as well as there are a lot of investors, even in Africa, that basically they are looking to invest in other countries. So it's been, two ways investment that we have worked hard in it. We have worked on special projects between African countries as well as between other foundations in the Arab countries and in Middle East. We have projects into infrastructure, we have projects into mining, we have projects into sustainability and environmental housing projects that we have worked on. Right now we are working into empowering youth into entering many countries through other programs.
Now, taking a step back, in terms of foreign direct investment, I mean, you sit very close to it. What are some of the trends that you've observed over the last couple of years?
The trends that people are moving or countries are moving toward technology and innovation. Through annual investment meeting, we have tried to basically adopt innovation in our way of business and try to basically promote the innovation and artificial intelligence and industrialization to these countries. So our role is basically to keep these flows coming and to basically introduce the new innovation and technologies to African countries.
Do you find that there is an appetite for investments into the African continent when it comes to innovation?
A lot. I think we have been successful into a few projects in African countries. We have been successful in Cameroon, in South Africa, in Nigeria, in Angola. I think these projects that we have introduced a lot of advanced technologies to them, and they are partnering with them and they're working together.
And in terms of the meeting in itself, I mean, you've now existed, this is the 11th year, if my calculations serve me right, 12th year actually, since the inception. What have been the main lessons that you've learned along the way?
I think the main lessons that we learned that FDI, it's a main, let's say, drive for economies, and we need to work together with all the countries to drive FDI to these countries. And the most important thing that we learned that we have to look into how to benefit the countries on these initiatives. Also, we have learned that partnership is one of the models that it's very successful into developing economies and attracting investment. Geopolitical, it affects FDI a lot, and one of the things that we have developed is basically working with government, trying to build and link governments together, trying to open doors between nations. And I believe annual investment meeting has worked together with a lot of countries in terms of creating relations as well as either politically or economically with a lot of countries. Also, one of the initiatives that we work with, basically, it's bringing peace to some countries, especially in African countries. I think through these models, investment comes easily to the countries.
So that's quite an interesting array and an interesting way of looking at it, actually. And I'm particularly interested in when you say bringing peace. How does that look like?
Well, the best model of tolerance and peace is actually surrounding here. I think we try to transfer knowledge, either it's an investment or basically in other lifestyle knowledge, we call it, trying to showcase the model of tolerance in United Arab Emirates, the model of peace in United Arab Emirates to other countries. And Dubai and United Arab Emirates is one of the fastest growing countries in the world, and UAE is being a model for attracting a lot of investment. So we try to transfer this model to other countries to learn from us how we have in UAE built this model and trying to benefit from basically the model of tolerance that we have created. And I think if countries put hands together, they will benefit in terms of attracting FDI.
Very true. So in a way, leading by example. Do you have criteria or sets, like ideal partners that you want to bring to the annual meetings or that you are looking to target?
Well, during the last few years, we have been targeting the private sector, and we try to basically help the private sector to be networked and linked with the global private sector. So we work now with African organizations, try to basically take them global and try to look into our relations in different countries and try to allow these countries to learn, or these companies to learn what Africa has to offer. So our model is more of a partnership. Our model is more of transferring knowledge and putting projects together with investors.
What about COVID? We all went through it, did quite some damage in multiple facets of life, from human lives to economically. What did this look like from a meeting perspective, but also from an FDI perspective?
Well, all of us were affected by COVID, but the success story of COVID is how we basically manage the COVID. I think there are good countries like United Arab Emirates that they had an effective management system of COVID, and after COVID, after 3 months immediately, we saw that FDI is coming back, and basically people trusted the management system of COVID, and then they started investing in UAE and other countries. I believe that a lot of countries who have basically learned from the COVID system and how they could have managed the system, they could have managed their health system. They are attracting, more people to live and to work, and basically to trust investment in these countries. Pandemic was one of the scenarios that led to basically proper management of this.
Yeah, a case study in a way. And did you see any, because you were online at some point during...
Well, we went online during the COVID. One of the addition was online fully, and that led us to invest in technology and to learn more of technology. And I think, we also shared this experience with the United Nations. We shared this experience with African countries, and then we allowed them also to use our system, even it was costing us a lot of money. We have donated more than $700,000 to other countries to use our basically, Eventenics platform to organize their global events.
That's brilliant. Now, I also want to talk about SMEs, small businesses and startups. What is the main driver that brings an SME to come here and showcase?
Well, SMEs, as you know, it's the main driver for any economy in different parts of the world. And SMEs, they basically need, stabilities, they need empowerment, they need to see if there is, a proper market for their projects. And I believe that we in Annual Investment Meeting have created this know-how platform through basically knowledge, through basically giving them lectures, through basically connecting them with investors, as well as we have, tried to link them with global venture capitals, as well as with investor worldwide. SMEs, I believe, they are the future if they have been taking care of them through different programs. And I believe today there are funds available in different organizations or banks or basically countries that it could be utilized effectively to empower SMEs. I think SMEs, they need guidelines, especially the startups. If we talk about startups, I was in an exhibition last week in Seattle, in France, and I've seen the amount of exhibitors. I've seen also amount of startups and SMEs participating in this huge event, which is, in food sector. And I always say that, if countries use such platforms and just send, SMEs to just, observe what's going on in this industry and network and link with these type of, businesses, definitely they will grow through partnership. Definitely they will grow through attracting more innovation and knowledge. So I believe innovation, knowledge transfer, partnership are the main key sectors for SMEs to grow.
And what about the other side of the equation, the appetite from investors, from the private sector, and also from government to have these SMEs and these startups as part of the conversation?
I always say investors and business people, they need challenger SMEs. They need SMEs who are really, active. They don't need SMEs who are sleeping partners or basically, they have a project for fun. No, they need them to be challengers and to take this project as a challenge, and they can grow. There is nothing called it cannot be sold. Everything can be sold if it's really planned well, if it's really marketed well and taking care of it well. So I believe, again, we go through basically, investors need trust, And if there is a proper guidelines and proper strategies by governments, definitely SMEs will succeed.
And are there particular countries that are more welcoming to startups and SMEs than others?
There are so many good examples. There are so many strategies that governments has put in terms of attracting startups. UAE is one of them. In United Arab Emirates, we have created a very good model in terms of attracting investors or SMEs. We have the golden visa, 10 years free golden visa for people to come in. We have tax-free economy. We have free zones. We have starting your business without needing a local partner. So these type of systems and initiatives from the government it encourage people to come and establish their business. What I can see that a lot of governments are leading businesses. When the government lead the business, then the private sector moves and try to attract a lot of investors.
So in a way, a sense of direction from government. Yeah. And what about African countries? Do you see some countries as best in class when it comes to uplifting startups and integrating them?
Yes, we know some of the association and organization and foundations in Africa that they have been supporting startups and SMEs. Nigeria has a good example by Tony Foundation. We have also Rwanda has a good example. Addis Ababa, they have a good example. So there are countries where they have good examples. Even Gabon, for example, with their partnership with Olam Holding, they have a good example in the free zones. So I think in different countries in Africa, they have very good, models. DRC Congo, they are looking into empowering their SMEs and startups through a different model. So there are big opportunities as well.
Now, the other big topic that we keep on talking about on our channel and that is occupying a lot of the headlines is that of sustainability and the future. How are you using your platform AIM towards driving investments for sustainability?
I think that's a hot issue and a great issue as well. I think sustainability, if we talk about sustainability, we have to talk about three angles of sustainability always, which is economic and environmental and social pillars of sustainability. I think today one of the most important thing is to educate people and to look into the model of the smart cities. And if you try to effectively study the smart city model and the sustainable city model, you will see that we are looking into the whole lifestyle, ecosystem. If it's an economic, then we we are looking into town planning, how the governments are effectively planning the towns properly. If you look into the environmental pillar of the sustainability, you're looking into effectively having a proper organizations for electric cars, for recycling, for all of that. And when you talk about the social pillar, you're talking about the whole lifestyle of hospitality, as well as the education, the entertainment part of the life. So if you put all of that together, definitely you can have a very sustainable city and sustainable country. And there are models that been very successful, and we have been trying also to promote the model of Dubai Sustainable City to go globally, and we have been successful into creating also 3 partnerships between the city and other countries. And I believe sustainability is something that it's a hot issue that it's in the agenda of all the governments.
Indeed, it touches all of us.
Yes.
Now, speaking of all of us and the global economy, the meetings have been taking place in Dubai. Any vision for taking it to another region?
Well, it is global. So we had during the COVID Africa AIM, or AIM Africa, the digital edition. We are going to Latin America. Already Brazil has send us an official letter to host it. We are going to have also an African edition. So we're going to have AIM regional editions in different regions. Next edition, it will be in May 2023 in Abu Dhabi.
And so what is the model for the partnerships with other countries? Would the summit or the meeting then be focused on investments into that particular country, or is it I mean, what does it look like?
Well, it is a global event. So definitely, if it's hosted by a country, we would look into, some benefit to that country in terms of know-how, in terms of attracting some investment. But it's a platform for all to basically exchange their investment and look for new opportunities.
Now, speaking of benefit to the country, I can imagine that hosting the annual investment meeting every year here in Dubai or in the UAE has been quite beneficial to the UAE in terms of roll-on effects into the economy. How do you see this?
Well, UAE, it's a hub of the region, and you can reach to 80% of any country within 4 hours, flight from Dubai or Abu Dhabi. And the reason was behind hosting annual investment meeting in Dubai for the last 11 editions is basically Dubai has a good infrastructure, has a good facility to welcome people in terms of basically visas, in terms of the immigration system, the airports. So annual investment meeting, it's about taking care of people as well. So we really had, a very smooth operation, let's call it, over the last 11 years to organize AIM and to brand AIM from Dubai itself. I think, the government of UAE and the local government of Dubai has really given a huge support for the success of annual investment meeting. And this comes from the vision of the leaders of United Arab Emirates and Dubai to really support such global events and to really create the best of the best for all the investors and for the government. So I believe it was an excellent decision to have annual investment meeting in Dubai to benefit from the infrastructure and the facilities of the government of UAE and Dubai specifically.
Indeed. Now, looking ahead, currently you have your offices here in Dubai, but you also have other offices, 60 employees. What does the aim of the future look like?
Well, aim of the future, basically, as I mentioned earlier, that we have to go globally. So we're going to have AIM edition in each region. And I think that's a lot of work. As well, we are creating AIM Academy, where to educate different nations and to also learn from different nations on the investment part of it. We are working on AIM reports for investment. We are trying to empower startups and SMEs in different content through our AIM Startups platform in terms of creating, competitions, creating more workshops, gathering them into an exhibition in their own regions, and also networking them with venture capitals. So there are basically an action plan and a strategy for each pillar of AIM that we have.
I think this is good news to many, because it basically means that we don't have to wait for the next meeting to take place, but we can continue to do business and to build connections and partnerships throughout. Now, I sense a strong focus towards education, training and knowledge sharing in terms of what you're saying. Tell us more about the AIM Academy in particular.
Well, the human capital, it's very important factor in a success economy. And to attract FDI, to attract, investors to any country, you need a proper human capital and well-trained human capital, let them call it. And I think, some countries, they are working on different strategies into training their locals and teaching the local people on how to start businesses or empowering their basically skills into different things. We do have workshops in annual investment meeting on empowering FDI experts, for example. And these workshops are organized with our consultants and with our partners worldwide. And we want to take this model globally to basically capitalize on knowledge that our consultant and our partners have and transfer it to these countries through our academy.
And which countries would this be deployed to?
Well, we are working right now with different African countries. For example, DRC Congo or Angola or Cameroon or Gabon. We are working with them on different aspects of it. We are also working with Latin America. Latin American countries being very active to benefit from AIM and to be part of AIM. we're working with these two contents right now.
And I know this is a hard question, but if you had to kind of sum up some of the deals that you've seen being made through AIM, how would you summarize this?
Well, if you are asking me about number, but it will be difficult, honestly, because FDI, it takes a long time, but we had a very good success stories during the annual investment meeting, where we have worked together with governments and with some organization into successful deals. We have been moving from an event that's been networking people to deal happening event. So we have a list of projects that have been successful in Africa. If we talk particularly, they have been a bauxite mining deal between UAE and African countries. We had an infrastructure deal. We had infrastructure deal in Cameroon, for example. We had also agriculture deals happening in different countries. We have signed many agreements with some of the organizations to have a funding program for SMEs and startups in African countries.
And if you had to give one message to those who are not yet participating, what would it be?
I would basically, ask people to really benefit from the network that annual investment meeting has created, as well as from the knowledge that's been, over the last 13 years, knowledge that we have created, and use annual investment meeting as a platform for attracting investment to their countries, and basically empower their SMEs and entrepreneurs to benefit from the investment network and the knowledge that we have.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
And that's how we wrap up this episode of CNBC Africa in Conversation with myself, Tanya Habimana. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.